I want to start off today's NDE with a quick shout out to Arts and Wildwoods. Thank you again for the super thanks. Be sure to check out their channel. Beyond Death recently received an email from a subscriber named Donna Robertson. Donna writes in, "Thank you for your podcast. I love listening to all the stories of God's love, and it really helped me with adjusting to this life after my NDE. I tell all of my NDE and how He so loves us. I no longer fear death, and I know the veil is very thin here and the afterlife. Thank you again, and if you need any more info, please don't hesitate to contact me. God bless. Donna, I have seen you in the sanctuary and beheld your power and your glory." Psalm 63:2. My operation lasted nearly 8 hours. I went into surgery about 1:30 in the afternoon and would not regain full consciousness until around 9:30 that night. The operation was to remove a 10-year-old pelvic mesh implant that my body was rejecting. The pain from the rejection had become so completely unbearable. I developed a condition called gigantic white cell reaction, as my body fought to purge the foreign mesh. The surgery was intense. Although successful, it had taken a terrible toll on my entire body. As I became conscious, the pain was so exasperating and excruciating that I could hardly breathe. My entire body was experiencing a horrific pain that I'd never known before, including the pain prior to the surgery. It felt like I had been run over by a train, as every fiber of my body was searing in pain. The only thing I could think of was that death would surely be better. In desperation, I begged the nurse to please let me die. Even the act of opening my eyes was just too excruciatingly painful. Plus, I don't think I could bear watching my broken body shake so badly from the pain. I heard the nurse answer me. She said I'd come too far, making it through the long, intense surgery, and had fought too hard to get where I was to give up now. They were working very hard to stabilize me and weren't going to give up, and nor should I. I just couldn't hang on any longer. I could still feel her presence as my body succumbed and gave way to the pain into a new realm. I was suddenly in the presence of this extraordinary bright space, in absolutely no pain, just an overwhelming feeling of pure love. The love saturated my being, inside and out. I felt completely alive, and something so wonderful was happening inside me. A new energy that was all-encompassing. I was totally at peace, fearless, and having no worries or anxiety about anything. This place was safe, sweet, and so very comforting that I didn't want to move. You know that feeling when you fall in love with someone and you just want to be in their presence? Or the love you have for your children that consumes you with joy, warmth, and such a precious sense of belonging and intense love. Well, the feeling there was 1,000,000 times greater than any other love we could ever experience on this side of heaven. It was intense, all-encompassing, sacred, peaceful, and complete. That is the best way I could describe it into words, but hear me when I tell you. It's way better than that, y'all. As I stood there, a breeze began to dance around me. It was cool on my face. It was gently shifting all around me like the breeze that gently moves the leaves on a tree. It was calm and refreshing, and ever so light and airy in a way I had never experienced a breeze before. As I took in this most amazing feeling, I realized I was standing in front of a temple with huge wooden rafters held up by stone columns at the front. The front of it was open like a portico. There were sashes wrapped around the columns, which were made of gold. The tiny gold pieces were smashed like coins in rows throughout the curtains. When the amazing breeze blew, the curtains would sway and move with the gentle flow of the breeze. A gentle rustling of the gold, shimmery fabric kept me mesmerized and relaxed. I remember thinking clearly at that point, I must have died after the surgery. It was a quick, simple, matter-of-fact thought, without emotion. I didn't question why I was there or even wondered what the place was. I just knew I belonged there and could feel to the core of my being. I was in the most amazing, loving, and sacred place, completely at peace without a single worry. I was not afraid. nor did I feel any sense of sadness or recollection of my past or concern of my future. For the first time, I was resting in a safe, loving place that was so intertwined with my being. This was the peace that passes all understanding. I did not want to move. It was so amazingly beautiful as I took in the magnificent temple on display before me. I have no idea how long I rested there. The concept of time is not at all like it is here on earth. Somehow I knew this. I felt it. How do I even explain it? It's sort of like whatever is going on is the only thing happening. Nothing else matters. The sense of putting things into order doesn't exist. Does that make any sense? I could have been standing there all day, or maybe it was only a minute. It didn't matter. Time is irrelevant. Everything about being there was so freeing. There was no attachment to the activity. It was just happening, and it was simply perfect. I did, however, remember some things while I was there. I was aware I had just gone through surgery. I knew my name was Donna, and I remember thinking I might not make it before I went into surgery, so I must have died after all. This tremendous urge came over me to walk through the flowing curtains, to get further inside the temple that looked Romanesque. I wanted to move forward, beyond the curtains, but I had no control over my body to walk through them into the temple. As I stood there, I noticed the window. It was a big window on the right side of the temple. It wasn't like I moved and then became aware of it. I just suddenly saw it. I noticed something inside. It was a large wooden box or a piece of furniture of some sort. My first thought was, is that my coffin? I kept studying it, trying to see more. I then thought, could this actually be the Ark of the Covenant? If I understood the Bible correctly, it would be where the original scrolls were kept. This wooden container was so spectacular with its beautiful brown color, the edges covered in a pattern of gold. I could not get a glimpse of the entire box, just one corner of it, and it was amazing. Suddenly, to the right of me, I saw a bright orb of light. I knew immediately it was Jesus. He was slowly moving toward my right side. I was so enthralled by the bright, sparkly lights twinkling all around. It was as if I had tiny little stars everywhere around me. Although it was already very bright, I could still see the twinkling of the lights. The orb became increasingly brighter the closer it came toward me. It was the brightest light I'd ever seen, yet it was soothing, not at all harsh or overwhelming to my eyes, as it approached my right side like a weightless cloud moving on a bright summer day. As it came toward me, I could see the outline of Jesus' face. I knew him immediately. I was so overwhelmed with complete and utter awe that I could only concentrate on what appeared to me like a charcoal sketch of his face. It was a beautiful outline against all the whiteness and brightness surrounding him. There I was, face to face with my Lord and Savior. I never recalled seeing his body or even the flesh of his skin, but he was beside me and I knew him, but most importantly, he knew me. Now we see through a glass, darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known. 1 Corinthians 13:12. I do not have any concept of how much time had passed as I stood in his presence, but what I know for certain is that Jesus spoke directly to me with loving instruction. He spoke into me, not with verbal words but with his mind. Telepathically, he said to me, "It's not your time yet. You have to go back. Everything is going to be okay. Tell them about me." His voice and presence is so perfectly saturated with nothing but pure, unexplainable love. There truly are not words to describe the feeling of his voice and presence that was so intertwined with my being. I absolutely did not want to go back. I did not want to leave his presence. I then remembered thinking, I want to look down. This time Jesus allowed me to move my head and see more of what I wanted. When I looked down, I didn't see my body, but a white robe that encompassed me with tiny sparkles. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man can number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes. Revelation 7:9. I knew now I wasn't going to be able to stay. He was sending me back and I wanted to see more. I was curious and he knew it, so Jesus allowed me to get a good look around one last time before I had to leave. Then all of a sudden, Jesus put into my thoughts that I had a family. He helped me to remember them and long for them and the life I had before the surgery, so it would be easier for me to leave. Seeing all of this is very indescribable. I was so amazed and filled with wonder and awe. There really are no words to describe or tell what all I'd experienced in the presence of Jesus. It has been nearly 4 years since this happened, and I still remember every detail as if it just happened yesterday. Thank you very much for allowing this channel to post your NDE data. That sounds like a truly amazing experience, and one I myself would love to have one day. If any of our other listeners have a near-death experience they wish to share, please send them to the email listed in the description with a brief statement giving this channel permission to post it. As always, thank you for watching. God bless.